What's going on, guys? It's Zuko back with another Dragonflight video. Hope you're all doing very, very well. Let's talk about Augmentation Evoker. Everybody's been talking about it. It's been live for a couple of days. I've had a chance to do some keys with Augmentation Evokers with me, and I want to ask a really big question. Is it good or is it bad to take into your Mythic Plus keys? A lot of people have been asking me about that, and we've been sort of discussing it amongst the people that I've been playing with. So it's a very interesting discussion. What do we think about this spec? Is it good in Mythic Plus? Is it bad? You know, there's a lot of questions around that, which mostly has to do with, does it do any damage? Is the buff that you get from even any good? Like, how does it work with certain compositions? Are certain compositions better than others? We're going to talk about all of that today in the video, and I'm going to show you some footage from a video that for a dungeon that I ran last night. Little freehold that we ran. So let me just, I'll just kind of walk you through this as we're doing the dungeon. Move myself over there. What I want to say is that I think at the outset, Augmentation Evoker is really, really good in a pre-planned group where you're all on Discord together, and you can talk about your cooldowns, and the Evoker can line everything up kind of perfectly, and your tank is pulling large packs together so that there's like 10 to 20 mobs, and your tank and your healer are like basically taking care of all the kicks and the CC. There's a laundry list of things there that have to like go right for I think Augmentation Evoker to be amazing. And we see in some of the highest keys that people are doing right now, they're all taking Augmentation Evokers, and I think it's going to give a bad perception of how good this spec actually is. I think like on some pulls, you're going to see with an Augmentation Evoker, it's going to look a lot like this, where he does his little breath. You can see everybody's got, actually he missed almost everybody here, by the way. He only has, there's two big Eon buffs. But anyway, he's got his other buff going, so we're all buffed up right now, and we're doing damage. Look at the numbers. Like, the Mage is doing 700k, and the Warlock is about to do like 900k, or 800k or something, 811. Like, this is insane numbers. And if you were to just look at this, you might think to yourself, oh my god, Evoker's broken. Like, 720,000. It should be in every group. I was shocked. I was shocked, obviously, that I hadn't seen this before. Oh my god, the Warlock. But the perception that you might have is that, oh my god, Augmentation Evoker is completely broken. We need to have it in every single key that we ever do. And I think that that would be a wrong impression to get. Is it bad? No, it's really good. You can see he just did his breath. He just did his extra big breath of Eons. That's this buff here. So there's this damage that's accumulating. Plus we have the Eben Might buff on our bar right here. There's like multiple buffs there, right? And our damage it just goes up. We end up doing a lot of damage. I mean, even I did a lot of damage, and the tank is doing a ton of damage. So I do think that, like, here's what I think. If you're taking an Augmentation Evoker and you're just like pugging a key, the buff is not going to be as substantial as if you have a pre-made group that's like ready to go. But that applies to like every group. It doesn't really matter. Like, you might as well just have a third DPS. It's not better than just having a third DPS on average for your regular groups that are running keys. That's what I would say. If, however, you have a really well-coordinated group and you are timing your cooldowns, like with a Fire Mage or with this Affliction Warlock, which just went crazy in this dungeon, then I think it can look a lot better for you. And there's a much better reason to take it. Augmentation Evoker on its own doesn't really do any damage. You can see here that he's doing 33k. I'm almost, doing as much damage as him. The tank's doing double his damage almost. The DPS are way out in front. He is a DPS, right? He's supposed to do damage, but what he's obviously doing is adding damage to the Warlock and to the Mage, which is great. But again, I think unless you're going to pull massively and have a tank and a healer that are prepared to do kicks and interrupts and all the extra little itty bits that make Mythic Plus work, I don't know that taking an Augmentation Evoker is actually that much better. I don't know that it actually contributes that much to the group. You can see here, these guys are doing decent damage to a boss, but no more than what you might expect from a regular group. Imagine if the third DPS, instead of doing 27k, he was doing 100k. And both of these DPS, instead of doing 130, he was doing 110. And the Mage was doing 90. Like, That's way better. Having a third DPS doing that much more damage is way, way better. So, again, these moments right here where he breathes on all the enemies and all the buffs are rolling, you can watch the DPS go skyrocket here. The Aflock's going crazy. The tank's going crazy. I'm doing 95k. Like, these moments are very, very good, but I don't think over the course of a key, it's going to be better than having a third DPS that's pumping, you know, 200k damage in a fight like this. That would be my first major conclusion. In a pre-organized group with huge pulls and everything's being taken care of, I think this thing is insane. It's really good. I've seen clips of other YouTube videos where people are like taking fire mages into a group, and the fire mage is doing like, the fire mage gets like PI and all the augmentation evoker buffs, and he's doing like 1,000,000 damage per second. It's insane. It's really good. But on average, for your experience and my experience, I don't think it's going to be like that. And I don't think that having an augmentation evoker is actually that much better. What else do they bring? Let's talk about that. So they do have like a tank external where they give them armor and a shield, and that shield can get pretty massive. That's nothing to like, that's really good actually. That's quite strong. I don't want to discount that. They do give mana to the healer. You can see I have this, but that's just a class thing. Any evoker can do that, so there's nothing really special there. They do give a crit buff, right, called prescience, or I don't know. I was trying to say it on stream. I failed multiple times, but 3% crit to an ally. And then on top of that, let me just look it up. Let's just look at it really quickly. On top of that, you can go down here and get extra buffs. So it has a chance to give you essence burst. And then there's this. Prescience grants the ally a chance for their spells and abilities to echo damage or healing. That's pretty crazy, right? So you're giving them 3% crit and then a 15% chance to echo their damage. At 15%, right? It's pretty good. Not bad there. So that's a nice little buff. Here's the tank external I was talking about. This can add up to a lot of damage if you sort of talent into it correctly, right? There's also moats of possibilities, which I have not seen any augmentation evoker using in any key that I ran, and I probably ran 10 of them last night, and I didn't see a single evoker using it. So apparently it's just trash. There are some extra externals that it brings. Is that enough to make it better than a third DPS? Probably not. Probably not, honestly. Especially because other DPS that you can bring into your group, it could be a Shadow Priest, which does really good damage, has a PI external, and has Vampiric Embrace. Shadow Priest is amazing. It could be a Feral Druid, which pumps damage and can heal you through Nature's Vigil. Or a Boomkin, which is also popping off right now. So, I don't know. I don't know that it's actually much better than bringing a Devastation Evoker at this point, unless they nerf Devastation Evoker again. I think it's really good. I don't think it's better than a third DPS. If you have a really well-organized group and people can line up their cooldowns really, really well, you can push plus 27 keys and plus 28 keys. You can push those keys no problem. You can. And it's really strong. If you're sort of an average player like me and you're pushing plus 21s and plus 22s right now, that's some of the highest I've done, then it's probably not, it doesn't really matter. You can do those keys without the help of an Augmentation Evoker. So those are my conclusions right now on Augmentation Evoker. I haven't played it personally. This is just what I've seen from the 10 or 15 keys that I've run in the last 2 days with a bunch of evokers in them trying to do their hardest to buff all of us. That's sort of what I've seen. So let me know what you guys think in the comments down below, because I'm genuinely curious what your experience has been. I'm not saying they're bad. I'm saying they have a place, and there's probably a really good way in which you can use Augmentation Evokers and probably abuse the powers that they're giving you. But I think for the average player, it's not an earth-shattering new thing that you must bring to every key. I don't think that's quite where we're at yet. So let me know what you think in the comments down below. What has been your experience? I would love to hear from all of you. Please let me know. Okay? Thank you guys so much again for watching. I love you all. I will see you in the next one.